Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365 with your daily update for Wednesday, June 9th. Before we get into the coronavirus news and other news, we want to let you know about a sponsor of ours, Forward Madison Football Club, has two fantastic deals for this weekend's game. It's I'll tell you, first of all, they're going up to full capacity, near full capacity, over 4,000 people. It's double what we had last weekend at the match. There's lots of tickets, and they're going really fast. I just spoke with them today. They've sold 2,000 tickets already this week. That's in addition to all the season tickets that they have. So tickets are going to be hard to get. Get them now if you can, if you want to go to that match against Richmond Kickers on Saturday night. If you want a little extra with your ticket, when you go to buy your tickets, use the promo code ROSE, or just the word ROSE, actually. And $45, you get 2 tickets, and you get one of these lovely little tumblers here, and a locally made Wollersheim winery wine called Chateau Mingo. If you use the promo code WISCO, you get 2 tickets, 2 beers, 2 brats, and cheese curds. I didn't get any free cheese curds. I stopped by the office today. I got one of these tumblers, and then the ticket sales guy was like, the Wisco one is just beer and food. So you can just talk about that. So get your tickets, use those codes, and support Forward Madison. We appreciate their support of local independent news. Let's talk coronavirus numbers. Pretty good today. Only 106 new cases today, out of about 2,500 new test results. So that's only about a little over 4% just for the day. For that, those are all new. Those aren't all the tests that are in today. Those are all the new results. So for those to be, in the 10 to 12% range is no big deal. To be under 5% is terrific. Now, the more important percentage is the positive test rate of all the tests in the past 7 days, including repeat tests. That's tens of thousands of tests every week still. That rate is down to 1.2%, which is absurdly low. I really wasn't sure we'd ever see that low of a number. So that's great. It was 1.4 yesterday. It was down to 1.2 today. That means we've got it under control right now. Doesn't mean it's over. Doesn't mean we can just, everything's fine and we can just forget about it. It does mean we can kind of live normally for now. Right? There's just not very much virus out there. Like there was a moment in the fall when Public Health Madison County said, if you are downtown, assume you're breathing in virus because it's just everywhere. And that's just not the case anymore. It's just the prevalence of you don't have to assume everybody you run into is carrying virus the way we did in the fall. So that's really good news. It still feels weird to be out and about and going to stores without a mask on and stuff, but it's okay now at this point. It's also okay to keep your mask on if you want to. It's definitely okay and recommended to keep your mask on if you're not vaccinated yet. Right? If you're vaccinated, that does what the mask that takes care of what the mask was doing for you. If you haven't been vaccinated yet, you need to keep the mask on. Okay. Let's talk about vaccines though. The vaccine daily average of new doses given is actually continues to go up. It's over 14,000. It was just under 14,000 yesterday. It's about 14,100 today over the past 7 days, which is great. Again, that number in isolation is on the low side, but the fact that it's trending upward is what I like. Right? At one point, that was 64,000 a day back in the middle of April. But kind of everybody who was really ready to get vaccinated got vaccinated in those first couple months. And now we're getting people who have put it off. Some who've been hesitant, but I think most of it. And then there are a lot of people who have significant barriers who are like, I can't take a day off of work. They're hearing horror stories about side effects and how it can knock you on your back for a couple of days. And I can't take off of work because I don't have pay time off and I can't afford to lose my wages for 2 days. And so I'm not going to get a vaccine, or I don't have broadband internet to make an appointment, or I live in a rural place in northern Wisconsin and I can't get to a clinic twice. So a lot of people have various, but then there are a lot of people who just are like, it's not super prescient, super pressing, so they don't, they just kind of never get around to it. So anyway, but it seems like things are ticking up slightly, which is really good to see. We are now at, let me look, 48.6% of us have gotten one dose in Wisconsin. 43.4% are fully vaccinated. All right, that is one other thing I'll mention on coronavirus. 11 more fatalities reported today. Again, we're now at about 4 fatalities, actually new fatalities per day reported. But a lot of these that we've seen in the past week and a half or so are either deaths that were labeled as probable and have been confirmed as COVID, or just fatalities that death certificates that were never confirmed before. So these are old. These are people who passed away months ago or weeks ago and are just now being added to the data. So that doesn't make their death less significant, of course, but it does give us a more accurate census to the total death toll. And what it tells me too is that when we were doing 50, 60, 40 deaths per day, in the fall and over the winter into December to January, that probably was actually closer to like 65, 70 deaths a day. And now we're just catching up and we're just reporting all those deaths that happened at that time. Our total death toll now is 7,189. And then another 804 fatalities that are listed as probable. I don't want to report those as COVID deaths. Probable, when you're a journalist, like probable doesn't do it. I need it confirmed. So 7,189 is the number we're sticking with for right now. All right, we have lots more local news for you, a little bit of sports news, some really good sports news, along with some national news if you stick with us. We'll be back in 30 seconds right after this word from our sponsor at UW Health.
Here in the Midwest, community is important.
Having a healthcare system that's looking out for us,
that's actively addressing the racial disparities in healthcare is important.
When we can get good quality care, we can do more. We can achieve more.
We can be the kind of community we want to be, and that's really important.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
All right. On the site this morning, we have a profile of Tyrone Creech Jr. He's the new youth leadership organizer at GSAFE. That's the Gay Straight Alliance for Safe Schools. That is a Madison-based organization, and he's been with that organization for 4 years. When they just got this promotion on June 1st, the first day of Pride Month. He spoke with our reporter Mackenzie Crum, who did a really nice job getting to know him, and I would commend that to you. It's live right now at Madison365.org. I will mention Tyrone is a graduate of UW Platteville, my alma mater. So go Pioneers. Good on you, Tyrone. And actually has a lot to say about growing up gay as an athlete, which is just a fascinating intersection of things that is really interesting. So give that a read when you have a minute. Also on the site this morning, we talked about this last week, but the Man Scholars Program had its first its first in-person event in a while, first of all. But secondly, its first graduation and welcoming of new Man Scholars since the untimely and unexpected passing of Lori Mann Carey, one of the founders. This is a program that was founded by 3 sisters in honor of their parents to shepherd some young people of color, young Black people particularly, through high school. And they grab onto people as they come into high school. They give them $1,000 a year to cover extracurricular expenses, school fees, stuff like that. It's supposed to be free education, but it's not always. And then help them get into college. And it's been going on now since 1997. So it's a really successful program. And they had their year-end program on Friday, and it was very emotional. And Dave Dahmer was there and has that story for you on Madison365.org as well. The Latino Academy of Workforce Development today just announced a new training program specifically focused on renewable energy and sustainability. This is an organization, as the name implies, Latino Academy of Workforce Development, develops the workforce in Latino communities and helps people develop professionally. And there's a new training course called Taking Action for Sustainability with Energy Efficiency, with trained 15 student leaders as energy and sustainability facilitators. This is a concept that first came out of the Dane County Climate Action Plan, training people to become professionals in that space of renewable energy. And this the Latino Academy of Workforce Development does it bilingually, so it'll be in Spanish as well as English. Turning to sports now, Carl Craig. We've talked about him a lot. The forward Madison head coach was named Coach of the Month in USL League One for April and May, because the season began right at the end of April. He had a 4-game stretch unbeaten to start the season. It ended up being 5, which went into June a little bit. But with his first year with the club, a really rebuilt roster, and has been really successful in these first few matches, and earned that honor, and immediately gave credit to the entire team, including assistant coach Neil Haverty. And finally, in national news, U.S. Representative Val Demings of Florida, who was at one point discussed sort of on the short list of vice presidential contenders, potential vice presidential running mates for Joe Biden, and has also been talked about as cabinet secretary, that kind of thing. She announced today that she's running for United States Senate next year against Marco Rubio. She'll first have to get through Democratic primary, one assumes. Not a lot of other Democrats have announced yet in Florida, but she laid down the marker today in a 3-minute video, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be tough. Marco Rubio is a pretty popular incumbent in Florida, so we will see what happens. And that is the news for today. I appreciate you sticking with me, and I appreciate your support through all this, through everything. It feels like life is returning to normal a little bit, and I still feel like there's just a lot of news. Like I've been kind of on edge this whole year, just so much to report and so much to talk about. So we'll continue to do that. I'm working on a couple of stories that you may or may not, that aren't particularly happy stories. But we'll have more for you tomorrow. And It's Only 10 Minutes podcast tomorrow morning. And I'll be back here tomorrow right around this time. So have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself. Stay cool. And we'll see you back here tomorrow.
This is 365 Media.